Here in 2026, marketing for a remodeling company has really stopped being forgiving. And so when you're trying to decide what should you be marketing for your digital marketing budget, you need to start thinking differently, because this year is where marketing either starts working or it starts costing you. For years, many owners got by with good enough marketing, and that meant a decent website, maybe some ads, a little bit of search engine optimization, with referrals making up the difference. And that approach didn't make anyone dominant, but it at least kept the bills paid and it kept the lights on. Well, that window is closing, because homeowners haven't stopped remodeling, but they have changed how they choose who to trust. They research quietly, they watch videos, they read reviews, they form opinions long before they ever reach out. And by the time they contact you, the decision is already leaning one way or the other. And that means the sale no longer begins when the phone rings. It's actually begun weeks earlier, and it has begun without your permission. So the real question for you isn't how much should we spend on marketing. It's actually, are you budgeting for marketing like it's a necessary expense, or like it's the system that determines whether your business grows calmly or constantly feels like it's behind. Now, before we go any further, marketing is no longer about chasing leads. It's actually about shaping decisions before a lead ever exists. Companies that understand this experience are going to have lower resistance in sales, more predictable demand, and much stronger margins, which means a lot less emotional pressure on you as the owner. Companies that don't are going to simply compete on price, speed, and stress, and that is a quick race to the bottom, and that is going to be the divide in the marketplace. And so let's talk about the real job of your digital marketing budget here in 2026 and moving forward. Most remodeling companies still believe the job of marketing is to make the phone ring. And that belief is understandable, but it's actually outdated. This year and moving forward, marketing has a much heavier responsibility. Its actual job is to do the hard work before sales ever enters the picture. So a properly funded digital marketing system has to establish authority long before the first contact. It has to reduce fear before any objection ever gets spoken, and it has to create consistent demand instead of emotional peaks and valleys. So it's going to support growth without creating chaos inside of the business. What happens is when marketing is underfunded, everything else starts to feel harder. Sales feel pushy, price becomes a battlefield, owners carry pressure that the system itself actually should be absorbing. And here's the truth that most people start to learn too late. The most expensive marketing is the kind that never compounds on itself. So what strong remodeling companies think about when they think about budgeting is that there is no universal right number, but there is a universal difference in how the strong companies think about their budgeting. Some companies budget defensively, meaning they spend just enough to stay visible and then hope conditions don't change. These businesses often feel stable, but they only feel stable until they actually are not. Others will start to budget with intention, meaning they expect marketing to produce steady, predictable demand, not miracles, not hype, just consistency. And then there are the market leaders. And these are the companies that budget to control perception. They're not trying to win every job, but they are trying to become the obvious choice. AI and automation haven't made marketing cheaper in the way many had hoped either. What they have done is they have made clarity much more valuable and inconsistency much more costly. So weak marketing gets exposed faster and thin presence gets filtered out sooner. So your budget shouldn't reflect comfort, it should actually reflect direction. And digital versus traditional marketing is actually the wrong conversation for you to be having. By now, every form of marketing actually ends up online because word of mouth referrals still get Googled. Yard signs still get researched and word of mouth gets validated. If a homeowner hears your name and can't immediately confirm trust, credibility, and professionalism online, the recommendation weakens, even if it came from a friend. And that's why the only filter that matters now is simple. Does this marketing activity strengthen trust when somebody looks you up? If it doesn't, it's not helping. In fact, it could be working against you. And so what a digital marketing budget is actually funding this year and moving forward, it doesn't fund tactics, it funds systems. You need to be thinking about your digital infrastructure. Your website is not a brochure. It's your credibility engine. It must load fast. It must work flawlessly on mobile. It has to communicate trust instantly, and it has to guide visitors towards a clear next step. And this is not a one-time project. It is ongoing stewardship. Durability matters more than flash. And you have to be thinking about search visibility in an AI-first world. Ranking alone is no longer winning. AI-driven search summarizes, and then it recommends and filters information before a user ever clicks. And that means your budget has to support authority signals, reviews and reputation, local presence, educational and structured content, and consistency across platforms, because you're not competing for keywords anymore. You're competing to be the actual answer to the question. And you have to start thinking about paid media as a control lever. Paid advertising still works, but only when you use it with discipline. So in 2026 and beyond, ads should be used to stabilize demand and to accelerate what's already been proven. And then also to reinforce credibility by retargeting those who have already raised their hand and shown interest. And underfunded ad strategies don't fail because ads don't work. They fail because they never get enough data to improve, because everything is machine learning driven. And so the machine learning never gets enough data to educate itself. Remember, paid media is a throttle. it's not life support. If you don't give it enough fuel, it's not going to get you where you need to go. And authority content has to protect your margins, because content is where the real leverage lies. You're going to have to become a content connoisseur and a content authority. Strong content pre-sells your value. It neutralizes fear. It makes premium pricing feel logical instead of aggressive. Video, visuals, and long-form education are going to help shorten your sales cycles and reduce sales resistance. And repurposing your content is no longer optional. It is how a disciplined company stretches their budget without sacrificing their impact. You also need to be tracking and using decision intelligence. This year, I think it's working is not an acceptable answer. You can't just lick your thumb and stick it in the wind to make a determination whether or not something is working. You need to be using call tracking, CRM integration, attribution, and reporting to turn marketing from a hope-based expense into a financial system. Guessing is expensive. Visibility is leadership. And so I want to give you a framework for your marketing budget. And this framework shows up one way or another in every strong remodeling company that we work with. First of all is your digital infrastructure. This is your foundation. Website performance, hosting, security, and conversion optimization. The purpose of this is to create instant credibility and frictionless action. If this is weak, everything else in your system is going to leak. Second to that is authority and search representation. This is going to be your local search engine optimization, your Google business profile optimization, your reviews, your structured content, and consistent presence. And the purpose of this is you have to be trusted, visible, and recommended, especially in AI-driven search results, because you are no longer competing for clicks, you are competing for trust. And then there is paid demand control. This is going to be your search ads, your local service ads, and your social advertising used strategically. And the purpose behind this is to create smooth demand, control your pacing, and accelerate your growth without creating chaos. Paid media should support your system, not prop it up. Number 4 is trust building content assets. Video, photography, educational articles, case studies, and proof. These are going to reduce resistance, protect your margins, and pre-qualify buyers before your sales process is ever engaged. And this is where confidence replaces persuasion. And then you need your tracking and intelligence, call tracking, CRM visibility, attribution, and reporting to turn those marketing decisions into financial decisions. If you can't see clearly, you can't lead confidently. And then make budgeting changes as your business matures. Early stage companies, you need foundations and local credibility more than anything. Doing a few things well will beat doing everything poorly. As an established company, you need to shift from chasing leads to protecting margins. And authority becomes more valuable to you than volume. And for growth and multi-location companies, you're facing a different risk, and that's inconsistency. Fragmented messaging erodes trust quietly and faster than any competitor ever will. So the mistake is pretending that everyone at every stage should budget the same way. You need to budget appropriately for whatever stage in your life cycle you're at. There is also a compounding cost to under budgeting. So if you are doing stop and start marketing, you're not going to survive. So when companies underfund their marketing, cost per lead rises, sales friction increases, and pressure flows uphill until the owner is now carrying it on their back once again. Meanwhile, competitors don't announce anything, they just simply remain visible. And market share is rarely lost dramatically, it is lost quietly. Here's why annual strategy beats monthly guessing. You need to remember that serious companies budget annually because it takes emotion out of the equation. They still adjust, they still optimize, but they don't panic. Marketing aligns with hiring, production, and cash flow. It becomes a throttle instead of a gamble. And that's when growth becomes calmer and more controllable. And so to wind this down and wrap it up for you, budgeting at the end of the day is a leadership decision. Marketing is stewardship. It's how you care for your brand, your team, and your future customers. The strongest remodeling companies don't experiment with marketing. They don't try it. They don't dabble with it. They fund it with intention because they understand the cost of being invisible. And the line is clear this year. Some owners will keep reacting, and others will architect demand on purpose. The real question is this: will your marketing finally start working for you, or will it keep demanding more from you? I hope this has been helpful for you. If we can help you develop a marketing system to dominate your market, reach out to us at Remodeling Marketing Team and schedule your strategy session. You can call us at 888-350-7859, or you can schedule online at remodelingmarketingteam.com/get-started. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to talking with you on our next episode.